Anyway, then we have Chucky Schmucky Schumer. Been in Congress since 1981. Been in public office since he graduated law school. Man's never worked in a private sector job, really, in his adult life. But he knows how to run the private sector. And he's asked about this. He's asking about capitalism and socialism and shareholders and all the rest. Listen to him. Cut 14, go.
He's listening to some of these hard right people.
So you're a hard right person if you oppose so. For some reason, more than all the rest of the hardcore progressive Marxists, this guy gets under my skin the most. Doesn't he yours, Mr. Producer? Weasel is the right word. And he's creepy. And he takes words and applies them, words that really belong to him, and projects them onto other people. In other words, he uses like the reverse definition of the word. An antonym, as we like to say. Let's take it from the top. Go ahead. Go.
He's listening to some of these hard right people, and they are saying the only type of capitalism that should exist is without guardrails, you know, like back in the 1890s.
Hold on a second. Without guardrails. Has anybody advised the President of the United States to abolish the Department of Commerce, the Antitrust Division, the SEC, in some aspects the FCC, the Energy Department? All these departments exist, almost all of them, to regulate, control, bully the private sector. And they make it like it's pre-New Deal or pre-Woodrow Wilson. Now, you know what came out of the 1890s and early 1900s, ladies and gentlemen? Electricity. Electricity. The automobile. All kinds of great things. But you're supposed to hate the Industrial Revolution. You're supposed to hate what came out of the Industrial Revolution. And yet we wouldn't be the greatest economic engine on the face of the earth but for the Industrial Revolution. And then the progressives stepped in. And then the progressives stepped in. And they hate the Industrial Revolution. They love... Here's the thing. They hate the golden goose, but they love the golden eggs. Does that make sense, Mr. Producer? So they'll choke the golden goose to death, and they'll still claim that it can lay golden eggs. I can't put it any more simpler, so even Chuck Schumer can understand. Go ahead.
We believe that we need to improve capitalism and have it,
No, he doesn't. How are they going to improve capitalism? Ladies and gentlemen, capitalism is a word. It was actually developed by Marx. It's called the commerce system. It's called the trade system. It's right there in the Constitution, commerce and trade. That's what it is. How is Chuck Schumer and AOC, how are they going to improve the quote-unquote capitalist system? The truth is, it's not a system. It just happens. Like liberty. We're going to improve liberty. No, you're not. Maybe you can protect it. You can create a government that tries to protect it. But you're not going to improve it. Liberty isn't something that, it's not clay, and it's not something you mold. It's a belief system. It's a spiritual system, truthfully. It's an unalienable right. You're not going to improve it. Capitalism or commerce and trade are appendages of liberty and individualism and creativity, the mind, the intellect. How is Chuck Schumer going to improve that? They're not going to improve anything. And by the way, who are these great minds who are going to improve it? We are going to improve it. Who, him? AOC? Nancy Pelosi? Which bureaucrat? Which bureaucracy? Which group of politicians is going to, quote unquote, improve capitalism? It's bizarre. If we had a real media, if we had real news, if we had real media platforms where these things were discussed seriously, substantively, intelligently, rather than this clown who walks around with fortune cookies paper that comes out. Look at this. We're going to improve capitalism. And by the way, honey, let's play the lottery. There's numbers on the back here. If we had a substantive, serious, mature media with mature, substantive programs and anchors, we'd be in a far better place than we are today. Go ahead.
Joe, corporations had much more of an obligation, not just to their shareholders, but to their workers and their communities and to America. It's devolved so that they're slavishly devoted just to the shareholders, and that hurts working people.
What is he talking about? Which company is he talking about? Which company is slavishly devoted to the shareholder and not the worker? Just because unions don't get everything they want doesn't mean the business is a bad business. Just because a restaurant's trying to stay in business and the wait staff wants more and they can't afford it doesn't mean they're slavishly profiteering. Again, this is a man who's never had to make a nickel in the private sector. Doesn't know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or doesn't know how to sell it. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.